Hey guys, it's Jimmy, and in today's video, I want to share with you exactly what I would do if I had to start from scratch and get to 10K per month ASAP. And what I'm about to share with you, not too many people know about it. It's actually kind of strange. And it's kind of the business model that allowed me to go from $0 to $10,000 per month in a 22-day period. Right? And in this video, I'm going to share with you everything that I know step by step. And I'm not going to gatekeep any information. And I'm just going to show to you how quick, easy, and fast it is. And if you do it correctly, you can make $10,000 per month in the next 90 days by following this exact business model. And for me, I'm just a normal dude. So when I first started in the online business world, I was actually working at McDonald's for $14 an hour. I was flipping burgers and I completely hated that job. And when I first started, I was also broke. Actually, I was way worse than broke because I was also $15,000 in credit card debt. So I knew that I needed to make money in a relatively quick period of time. And my first exposure to the online business world was actually TikTok dropshipping. What actually happened was one day I was on my phone, I was just scrolling through TikTok, and I came across an ad of a guy talking about how much money he made by dropshipping items from China, basically, right? And I gave that a go, and I actually spent a couple months, and I actually did not make a single sale. In fact, I actually lost a few more $100 because I was spending my money buying different products and I was just simply not making any money. And then the next business model that I tried was SMMA, so social media marketing agency. Once again, I saw another ad from someone else talk about how great it was to sell Facebook ads to these e-commerce brands. And when I watched that video, I thought this was it, right? This was exactly what was gonna get me to become a millionaire, right? And I could confidently say that it not only did not make me a millionaire, but I also struggled. I went almost half a year and I did not sign a single client. So then what happened was then I pivoted over to an email marketing agency. So you know those emails that you might be getting on Black Friday or Boxing Day from brands like Lululemon, Nike, Gymshark, kind of like marketing emails, newsletters, that type of thing, that is kind of marketing the products and telling you about the discounts. Yeah, so I did that for e-commerce brands and I spent roughly 6 or 7 months doing that. And I was actually able to land my first 2 clients, though I was basically working for free. So I offered to work for free and I did not make a single dollar. But from that experience, even though I didn't make any money, I kind of figured out how to book meetings for myself. And that's kind of my main takeaway from that experience. And around that time, I was also in university. And a lot of my friends, they actually got, summer internships. They were working at big tech companies like Microsoft, like IBM, and their job at those companies was an SDR, so a sales development rep. And pretty much what they did as a full-time job was to help these big tech companies generate meetings, right? Generate these sales calls so that people could sell their products. And since at that time, I was getting pretty good at booking meetings for myself, I was booking between 2 and 3 meetings consistently a week for my own email marketing agency. I figured, hey, if these guys, they're making 6 figures a year, helping these companies book sales calls, I could probably go out, do it on my own, and make more money while doing so. So then what happened was around that time, I actually pivoted from the email marketing agency into a lead generation agency business model. Essentially, I was approaching different B2B companies and basically selling lead generation as a service. I was helping them book more meetings, book more sales calls on their calendar, aka helping them get more customers. And I was doing this entirely using cold emails. I started in October 2022. And in December 2022, I was actually able to go from $0 to $10,000 per month in a 22-day period. I collected $10,500 across the 22 days in December. And this was also the exact same business model that allowed me to make $50,000 per month in December 2023. So in this video, I want to break down the exact business model, show you step by step exactly what I would do if I was starting from 0 and I needed to get to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days. Hey, so in this video, I'll be running through exactly how to start a lead generation agency without case studies. So you're starting as a complete beginner and land your first client and essentially go from 0 to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days. And the idea that I got to create this video was on my Instagram. I'm actually getting a ton of DMs now from people asking me, what do I do? And how can they personally start and get to $10,000 a month, right? So people are asking me, and I figured this would be a good time to record this video. And the way I structured this video is I literally share with you everything I know I don't gatekeep any information. I share with you everything that I know about the business model. And if you watch this video in full and you take action and implement everything that I share with you, you will make money. I guarantee it. There's just no way that you don't. I lay out everything in as much detail as I can, and you will make money. So jumping right into it, why you need to pay attention to this, right? So the reason why you need to pay attention to this is because, again, I'm literally sharing with you everything I know about this business model in this video. And I've had numerous DMs on Instagram from other people who have watched some of my other stuff on YouTube, some of my other pieces of content, and realized the stuff that I put up for free, completely for free on YouTube, is way better and way more valuable than some of the stuff that people charge thousands of dollars for, right? Some of the other courses that people sell, stuff of that nature, right? This is a DM, right? Someone telling me that they're interested in starting a lead generation agency themselves, and they bought a program from someone else on YouTube, and pretty much they just want more help. They want additional guidance with help about how to land their first clients without case studies. I get a ton of these DMs, right? And the reason why I blacked out these names of other people is because obviously I don't want to get in trouble. Don't want to get in trouble for name dropping them and stuff like that. But obviously it is other people literally coming in and messaging me, telling me about other people, other gurus, stuff of that nature that they have worked with, that bought courses from, bought stuff, consulting programs, stuff like that in the past. And they basically felt like that they got nothing of significant value in return. And they wanted some more guidance directly from me after watching some of the stuff that I put out on YouTube and realizing that my free content is just as valuable, if not more valuable, than some of the stuff that people charge thousands of dollars for. So basically, if you're watching this video, if you are serious and you're committed to hitting your first $10,000 month in 2024, then pay attention to what I'm about to share with you in this video, because I'm about to drop straight value. So what you're seeing right now is a Slack. Who you're seeing in front of you is a guy I'm working with. His name is called Mohammed Sadiq. He's a 23-year-old from Pakistan, and basically he wanted to figure out how he can personally build his own lead generation agency and go from $0 to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days. This is our Slack channel where he's asking me different questions. I'm helping him, I'm providing him more guidance, and helping him at every step of the process. And as you can see, on Thursday, December 14, he literally messaged me and said, bro, I think I booked my first call. And I said, how do you know? And he said the prospect said that he's ready for a meeting at 11 a.m. PST tomorrow. And that's what happened on Thursday, December 14th. So using this exact process, this information, and taking action, he was able to book his first call, right? And as we can see, right, on December 18th, so 4 days later, he messaged me again and said, bro, we just signed him, just sending him the onboarding form now. I said, nice work, man. How do you feel right now? And the man said, amazing, right? And obviously he said it's because of your guidance and hard work that I'm putting in and helping him along the way. And it's not even just that, because on December 24th, on Christmas Eve, where most people are not even working, he booked another call. Right? He booked another call for December 26, 2023. And yeah, so using this exact same process, using this exact information, Sadiq was able to book his first two sales calls for his own agency. He started completely from zero, and he was actually able to sign a client himself, right? And the reason why I'm using him as an example in this in this video is because he's a 23-year-old from Pakistan, right? When he first started, when I first started working with him, he literally told me that his back was against the wall. He was literally about to graduate college, and his parents kind of forced him to get a job if he doesn't find another way. So he knew he just had to make this work. And again, right, he's from Pakistan. And the reason why I keep on saying that is because if you are from Canada, if you are from the States, if you are from Europe, Australia, New Zealand, there is zero reason why you cannot start yourself and make money doing this. If a kid from Pakistan is able to do this, then you 100% can as well if you are from these countries. So jumping right into it, you're probably asking yourself, what is a lead generation agency? What is this business model, and how exactly does it work? So it is a lead generation agency, LGA for short. And the way that we will make $10,000 a month is by building your own LGA. And according to Google, what is an LGA? So when I searched it up on Google, what is a lead generation agency? It literally told me that a lead generation agency is a company that develops and implements different strategies that help businesses attract more qualified leads. So prospects that are likely to become customers. That's what it means according to Google, but what does it really mean? So I decided to use ChatGPT, use some AI to help me come up with some even better answers. And according to ChatGPT, a lead generation agency, a LGA, is a company that helps other businesses find potential customers who are interested in their products or interested in their services. So essentially what you're doing is you're working with B2B companies and you're essentially helping them find potential new customers, potential new clients, paid customers, and paid clients by generating them qualified sales calls. And we're doing this completely by using cold emails. So we're sending emails on their behalf and helping them generate sales calls that will eventually turn into paid customers and paid clients for their business. And to illustrate exactly what that looks like, I put this diagram together. Let's assume there is a marketing agency, and that marketing agency, they are working with e-commerce brands, and the services that they provide is ads, SEO, email marketing for those e-commerce brands. Those are the clients of the marketing agencies. And right now, what they're doing to book meetings is they're relying very heavily on referrals, word of mouth, and they're running thousands of dollars on paid ads to generate these e-commerce customers for their own marketing agency. So what you're doing as a lead generation agency, this green circle over here, this LGA, is you will be approaching these marketing agencies to sign them as a client for your own business, for your own LGA. And what you're doing for these marketing agencies is you're helping them approach these e-commerce brands by cold emails, cold LinkedIn, cold call, stuff of that nature to help them generate these leads, right? To help them find these e-commerce brands and help them turn into paid customers of these marketing agencies. So that's kind of how that works. Hopefully you're able to understand it from this diagram. And to get into more of the weeds, how do you get paid as a lead generation agency? And if you're starting from scratch, you don't have any case studies, you don't have any testimonials, and you're a complete beginner, this is the pricing model that I recommend. I recommend you do a one-time setup fee. So when you first work with these people, you're basically telling them we have a setup fee and a pay per qualified call pricing structure. Meaning you're charging a few $1,000s up front, and for every call that you generate for their business, you are taking a cut, right? You're charging a few $100. When I first started, I started with a $3,000 setup fee plus $250 per call, but obviously depending on the company that I'm working with, the setup fee definitely varies, right? So the one I recommend with you is a $2,500 setup fee plus $250 pricing, pay per call pricing structure. And obviously you can play around with this. You see my Stripe. These are kind of the setup fees that I'm collecting from the customers I'm working with. And they range anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000. So there's so much room for you to go play around with different pricing models, different fees, stuff of that nature. But my point being is you are able to charge thousands of dollars up front and you make a ton of money on the back end as you deliver them meetings. As you get better, you will make more money, right? Because if you're able to deliver them more meetings, then obviously you'll be able to make more money if you're doing a pay per meeting pricing structure. So I recommend this pricing model because it provides the best mix of profitability and easiness to sell. So for more background context, and 1 week earlier in 2023, in November, we actually generated a client of ours. He runs a recruitment agency for salespeople, and we helped him generate 4 sales calls for his own business, right? November 1st, October 31st, October 27th is actually backwards. But we were able to generate him 4 sales calls for his business. We were charging him $250 per call. And since we are able to get him 4 calls, we were able to charge $1,000. So we made $1,000 outside of the setup fee in 1 week. So if we do this across a month, then we're making close to $4,000 a month on a month-to-month basis from just the calls that we are generating from him. And that doesn't even include the setup fee. So this guy, he paid $2,500 to get started with us. So we're making a ton of money, and hopefully you're able to see how you're able to make money by building a lead generation agency. The pricing model is relatively straightforward. So another question you might be wondering, especially if you've tried other businesses like SMMA, you tried dropshipping, you run a content agency, I don't know, right? Is one of the largest questions is, will this business model be saturated? And that's a really good question because obviously the more people that do it, the more competitors you will have. And obviously if you have 1 million competitors, then obviously your offer will be saturated. But here is why the lead generation agency business model is so great. And the answer is because it will never be saturated. So according to Google, because we are working with B2B companies, those are the clients that we are approaching. There are literally 3 million B2B businesses in the US alone. Right? In the US alone. And this 3 million number does not even include the amount of B2B companies in Canada, in UK, in Europe, in Australia, in New Zealand, and in every other major English speaking country. So there are definitely a ton more than 3 million B2B businesses in the world. There are many, many millions of these companies. Due to the sheer number of these companies, this is why this will never be saturated, right? And on top of that, every single business owner, they wake up every single day and the number one question on their mind is, how do I get more customers? How do I make more money? How do I get more people to know about me and pay me money for my services? That is literally their number one question. And with this business model as a lead generation agency, we are helping them solve this problem. We are literally helping these business owners make more money, get more paid customers, and we're doing this again by generating them sales calls for their business. So every single one of these 3 million B2B businesses, they need more customers. And that's exactly why this service will again never be saturated, because of the sheer amount of companies that exist and the fact that every single one of these companies, they need this service. They have this problem and you have the solution. Right? I searched on Google, why is a paid customer important to our business? It might seem like common sense, but even according to Google, right, a company's most valuable asset is its customers, because without them, they're basically out of business, right? So obviously, the more customers a business has, the more money they'll make. And this is exactly why this service is extremely in demand. So regardless of the economy, regardless of different world events happening around the world, every single business will still need more customers, and you are providing these businesses exactly with what they want. And there are over 3 million B2B businesses in the US alone. And if you include that number across every other English speaking country in the world, I guarantee that this number is definitely over 10 million B2B companies that exist. So even at my agency, where we have worked with, at this point, 50 plus clients, that's not even 0.0001% of the market share. Meaning, even if 1 million people start a lead generation agency, this will not be saturated, because of the sheer amount of companies that exist and the fact that every single one of those companies, they need your services. And that's exactly why this business model will never be saturated. Another point I wanted to make is why cold emails, right? Obviously, with a lead generation agency, there's different ways to generate these leads, generate these meetings for these companies. The way that I personally do it is by leveraging cold emails. And the reason why I chose cold emails as a channel is because even according to Google, right, cold email is one of the most effective tactics to generate B2B customers, right? That's a fact, right? And again, right, because of the sheer number of B2B companies that exist, the fact that you're selling a desired outcome, you're helping these business owners make more money, and combined with the data that literally suggests that cold emails is one of the most effective ways to get new customers, this is exactly why this business model is so great and exactly why it is so easy to sell. So if you're selling other forms of services, if you tried other service-based businesses and you found it really hard to get customers and you found it really hard to sell, most likely the reason why is because the service you're providing is not a desired end outcome. There's different desired end outcomes that business owners want, but the one that is the highest priority all the time is, how do I get more customers? And because this service helps to answer that question, that's exactly why it's so easy to sell. So I know this sounds amazing. This business model sounds great, but what are some downsides? So like every business model that exists, there are some, obviously all of them have pros and they have cons. But what are some cons with the lead generation agency business model? So I've actually had this DM. Someone asked me, is there any cons with a lead generation agency? And the answer is yes. If you hate sales, then this is not for you. If you want to run a business where you don't have to talk with any single person, then this business model is not for you. And obviously, combined with the fact that if you think you can make $10,000 a month by spending 10 minutes a day doing this, then obviously that's not going to work either. So assuming you have that level of commitment, you're serious about this business model, and you don't absolutely hate sales, then this can work for you. Now, obviously, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I never made a single sale in your life, no worries, because I was there as well. I had a point in my life where I've literally never made a single sale. I had my first sales call. Now I've had hundreds of sales calls, and I'm highly proficient at it. So if you are a complete beginner and you're a little bit intimidated because of sales, just try it. That's what I recommend, right? Because who knows, maybe you'll be really good at it as well. But as long as you don't hate working with people, you don't hate talking with people, then this could potentially work for you. So in this video, I want to outline your specific steps, your specific roadmap towards hitting your first $10,000 month in the next 90 days. I outlined 9 specific steps that you want to take. And the way I outline this is make sure you do each of these steps in this order, because by doing so, you will save yourself a lot of time. And you understand what I mean by that as we run through each of these steps. So in step 1, we are setting up the email accounts and we are warming these email accounts. Step 2 is we are picking our niche. Step 3 is we're crafting our offer. Step 4 is we're building our leads list. Step 5 is we're writing the actual cold email campaign. Step 6 is we're creating your video sales letter, a VSL for short. Step 7 is we are launching our campaign and focusing on inbox management. Step 8 is closing the deals. And step 9 is client fulfillment. And again, the way I outline this is each of these steps, I want you to do it in each of these chronological order. I'm having issues saying that word, but I want you to do each of these steps in that specific order, because by doing that, you will be able to shorten your timelines and you're not wasting your time doing things that don't matter. So what I want you to do is, as you watch these videos, I want you to pause, take some notes, remember what your specific action items are at each of these steps, and go and actually take action. Because this is just information, and if you just consume this entire video, sit there and don't do anything about it, then I guarantee that you will not make money. But if you stop and actually take action, implement each of these things at each of these steps, then you will make money. Guaranteed. So the first step is setting up the email accounts. So the first thing that I want you to understand is in every single business model, in every model relating to sales, there's a rule, and that is volume negates luck. And this is by far the most neglected and the most simplest part of the business that is neglected 99% of the time. So if you run a business, or if your clients, different companies, they own a business and they're struggling to grow, they're just not hitting the revenue targets, not making as much money as they'd like, more likely than not, it's because they don't have enough volume, right? In the sense they're not reaching out to enough people, not enough people know about them, so volume negates luck. And because of what we're doing, which is sending emails on their behalf, it's pretty common sense in the sense where if you send more emails, you will book meetings. Someone who's sending 50 cold emails a day will not see as much success as someone sending 1,000 emails per day. It's just simple math, right? And in order to send as many emails as possible, you will need to set up email accounts. So what you need to do as your first step is head over to porkbun.com. This is where we will be buying all of our domains. There are different alternatives like GoDaddy, Namecheap, stuff of that nature, but I personally use porkbun.com because I found it to be the lowest cost amongst each of these different domain providers. So right now on the screenshot, you see my own Porkbun domain. You see I have a ton of these domains, and the domains I want you to buy, they should all end off as .com domains. So don't buy .net, .ca, .org domains, buy .com domains. And what I want you to do is buy domains that are similar to your main website, to your main domain. So for example, my own agency, it's salesway.io. That's our main domain. And as you can see, each of these domains, they're somewhat similar to salesway.io. Not the exact same, because obviously we already bought that and that's unavailable, but we're buying multiple domains that are very similar, and we're using it for the purposes of cold outreach. The reason why you want to do this is because when we're sending emails, it falls under the category of sales and marketing, and you don't want to run the risk of having your main domain, your main website blocked in any way. Because while we're doing these cold emails, that is definitely a risk. It's not very likely, but it could happen. And if it does happen to your main domain, you're basically screwed. So make sure you're always buying additional domains similar to your main domain, and we will be using this for cold emails. After you buy these domains off of Porkbun, the next step is to buy email accounts from Microsoft Outlook. The way I do it is I set up 3 email accounts, 3 Outlook 365 Business Basic accounts for every one domain that I'm using for cold emails. This is my Microsoft 365 Admin Center. As you can see, I have a ton of these email accounts. I bought them using Microsoft. And the reason why I recommend using Outlook and not Gmail is a couple of reasons, right? So when I first started, I used Google Workspace. I used Gmail, like obviously the business version of Gmail, to get those custom domains. And I ran into a lot of issues scalability wise. When you only have 5 accounts, it doesn't matter. But when you have 50 of these email accounts, it gets really challenging to manage all of them, because every single time I have to log into them, it will ask me your phone number. And obviously I only have one phone. And the reason why I recommend using Outlook over Google Workspace is also another reason, right? So starting February 2024, Google actually made an announcement that said any Gmail account, any paid version of Gmail, if you're sending emails and you're getting over 0.3% bounce rate, then all your emails will automatically go to spam. So we don't want that to happen, and for that reason alone, we recommend Outlook. So Microsoft has not made a similar announcement as Google, so that's why we're using Outlook 365 for the purposes of sending cold emails. So if you're wondering, what does that look like in terms of numbers? Here is what our front-end volume setup looks like for Salesway.io. Again, that is my own lead generation agency. What we do is we set up 17 domains. Of these 17 domains, we set up 50 Microsoft email accounts. And what that means in terms of numbers is we're able to send 1,500 emails per day, cold emails per day, meaning after 30 days, 31 days, after a course of a month, we're sending 45,000 emails per month. So again, volume negates luck. And the reason why I illustrate this is because, again, volume negates luck. And if you're sending 45,000 cold emails per month, it's damn near impossible to not book meetings, because volume negates luck. So with higher volume, we give ourselves more chance to hit our dream prospect at the right time with our specific offer. The other thing I want to mention as well is obviously you can start with less email accounts, but understand that the more email accounts you're able to set up, the more emails you're able to send. And as a result, you will get results quicker, basically, right? Someone sending 50 emails per day will get results much slower than someone sending 1,000 cold emails per day. That's just simple math. So the other thing that you need to be aware of is you can set up all these email accounts, but in order to make sure that the emails that you are sending are actually landing in the inbox, meaning not the spam folder or the junk folder, you have to make sure you set up DMARC, DKIM, CNAME, and website forwarding correctly. So obviously for the purposes of this video, setting these things up is pretty technical, and there's a ton of guides on the internet from Microsoft, from Porkbun, that will show you exactly what you need to do to set all of these things up correctly. So make sure you take a look at those guides and follow it step by step and set up your DMARC, DKIM, CNAME, and website forwarding to ensure you get maximum deliverability. After you set all of these things up, you also want to make sure that you're warming up your email accounts. The software that we use to warm up these email accounts is Smartly.ai. The reason why you want to warm up these email accounts is because obviously, let's say I buy a ton of domains, I buy a ton of email accounts today. If I start sending cold emails tomorrow, it looks oddly suspicious from the algorithm. How is someone who just bought all of these email accounts sending 30 cold emails tomorrow to random people? Right? So it looks really suspicious in the algorithm. And the way the warming process works is it slowly ramps up your email sending. It does it in an automated fashion, so you don't have to manually do this yourself and spend hours of your day doing this. And essentially slowly warms up your email accounts over the period of 14 days. So after that 14-day period, when you do finally start your cold email campaigns and start sending your cold emails, they will land in the main inbox. And the reason why I suggest you to start with this step, which is setting up your email accounts, is again, right? We want to make $10,000 a month ASAP. We don't want to do this in 6 months, in 12 months, in 2 years. And because we're setting up these email accounts and they do take 14 days to warm up, you want to start with this step first. And in between that 14-day period, that's where you'll be doing everything else, building your lead list, writing your cold email copy, doing all of that stuff. So that once you do all of those things in the 14 days, after the warming period has finished, after that 14-day period has finished, you're able to start sending emails and hit the ground running, get some replies, get some book meetings, take some sales calls, close some sales calls, and make your first few $1,000s with your own lead generation agency. So that's exactly why I tell you to do this step. Step 1, set up these email accounts. So step 2 is picking your niche. And honestly, this is where I find most people really get caught up, because picking a niche is really not that hard. A ton of people spend a ton of time on this. And I know when I first started, I think I spent 3 or 4 days just thinking about what my niche is. And looking back at that, it really doesn't take 3 or 4 days to do this. You could do this in literally an hour max. And by me taking 3 to 4 days, that just added another few days until I started making money, basically, right? So let me explain to you what I mean by it's really not that hard. And the reason why I say that is because when you pick a niche, there's really only 3 questions you should be asking yourself. The first one is, do you like working with these companies? So let's say you decide to work with recruitment agencies. Do you like working with them? Can you help them? So do they have a problem that you can solve? And the third one is, can they pay you? So obviously we are charging thousands of dollars a month for our services. We're making thousands of dollars from each client. So if they're only making $5,000 a month in their business, there is just no way that you're able to charge $2,000 and make that amount of money every single month from them when they're only making $5,000 a month. Right? So you want to make sure that these businesses, they're charging very high ticket for their own services, preferably making at least $10,000 or more per customer, so that you are able to make money from working with these businesses, right? Because if you're working with a company making $100,000 a month, then you making $2,000 or $3,000 a month is a rounding error on the cash flow sheet, right? And it's a no-brainer to work with you and pay you that amount of money. So here are a few requirements of what makes a good niche. And you should ask yourself when you ask yourself these questions as you are coming up with different niche ideas and deciding who you want to work with. The first thing is you should make sure that the niche that you choose to work with is broad. So not too specific. So I know there's a lot of people online telling you to niche down. Make sure that you're always niching down. But in my opinion and in my experience, I disagree. So rather than picking UCG ad agencies, we want to pick marketing agencies simply for the fact of pure numbers, right? There might only be 1,000 UCG ad agencies, but there are literally 100,000 marketing agencies. So as we are sending these cold emails, I want you to ask yourself, who are you more likely to sign and make money from? 1,000 UCG ad agencies or 100,000 marketing agencies? And the answer is 100,000 marketing agencies, because if we're sending emails every single day and we reach 100,000 marketing agencies, you will find one person willing to pay you $2,000 for your lead generation services, right? If you're only reaching out to 1,000 UCG ad agencies, you might send 1,000 emails to all of these guys and you might not get a single bite on your offer. And especially as a beginner, you don't have case studies. So your closing rates, stuff of that nature, will be lower than someone who has 100 case studies showcasing how great their services are. So because of that factor alone, you must always pick a niche that's extremely broad. And as you get more experience, you get better, you're able to charge more money, and you're able to niche down into a very specific niche of people that you want to work with. The second thing you should always keep in mind is the people, the businesses that you want to work with, they should be B2B, meaning business to business. So the services that they sell, they need to be selling it to other businesses. So for example, marketing agencies, right? Marketing agencies usually work with other businesses. So let's say back to that example earlier, a marketing agency is selling Facebook ad services to an e-commerce brand. That e-commerce brand is another business. But if the people you're working with, these businesses, they're selling to consumers. So for example, a plumber, right? Plumbers, more likely than not, they're working with regular homeowners, consumers in that sense. This will not work, right? Or if you're a realtor, you're working with realtors and realtors are sending emails, trying to send emails to regular consumers, people who will buy homes or sell homes. This process will also not work that well compared to B2B businesses. So make sure whoever it is that you're working with in your specific niche, they are selling their services to other business owners. And the third and final point is make sure whoever you're working with, they check their emails and they check their phone consistently. So for example, you probably don't want to be working with restaurants. You probably don't want to be working with brick and mortar stores because the way they go and conduct business is not necessarily digital. It does not really take place online, over emails, over phones, stuff of that nature. And because of that, because we're trying to reach these people over emails, we want to make sure that whoever it is that we're working with, they check their emails consistently and they check their phones consistently. So luckily for you, the online business world is extremely large and there are literally millions of online business owners. And those are the type of people that we want to be working with. So the reason why people struggle with picking a good niche is because gurus will literally go out and they'll tell you to pick a specific niche. But what they don't tell you is most people who run a successful business, myself included, successful agencies, they have tested multiple different niches before they found the one that they resonate the most with. And realistically, if you go out to build your own agency 6 months from now, after you have a couple of clients, you will have clients in a couple different niches. It's very unlikely that you will have 10 clients and all 10 of them will be in the exact same niche. You will have people coming from different industries that you'd be really curious about, that you might want to work with, stuff of that nature, and you will be testing multiple different niches. So for myself, personally, inside my own lead generation agency at salesway.io, we have tested and signed clients from a bunch of different B2B industries. So I have had clients, I have clients currently that are marketing agencies, that are PR firms, that are software development agencies, software companies, SaaS companies, right? Recruitment agencies. And the reason why I'm able to get customers in all of these niches is, again, similar to the stuff I outlined above. Cold emails work extremely well for most B2B companies. Every single B2B business, every single business for that matter, they want more customers. And this process works in so many industries. So I don't want you to stress about picking a niche, because this will work in 9 and 10 niches as long as you follow the requirements that are outlined above. And this is exactly why copying someone else's niche might not work for you. So when I was first building my own lead generation agency, before I got my first client, I was really tempted to go out, find someone who's really successful running their own lead generation agency and just straight copy their niche. And what I realized about that is you can go and copy their niche, because obviously if they're making a ton of money in their own niche that they're in, then obviously it will work for you. But the number one thing is, after a while, it's not even about which niche has the most money. Your priorities will shift a little bit into which niche do I personally like working with the most? Which one works and resonates most with me? Which of these niches speak my language? And obviously every single one of you guys have unique experiences. If you studied software engineering in school, then obviously, let's say working with software development agencies could be something that resonates with you because they have a similar background to you, versus someone who studied, let's say, marketing in school. They might not want or enjoy working with software development agencies because they talk a different language, right? Software development agencies, they're really technical, and people who studied marketing, more likely than not, they're just not as technical as these software engineers and these coders and these developers are. So my advice to you as an action step is, after you watch through this video, I want you to go back to this and I want you to go into ChatGPT and literally search up the best B2B niches where selling cold outbound prospecting services will work for. You know, this is a screenshot where I did the exact same thing. And as you can see, ChatGPT spit out a list of 15 different niches, and every single one of these niches can work, and it will work extremely well. You can make a ton of money from each of these niches. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because there are 15 right here. There are definitely a ton more niches that this could work for. And 15 is a lot, right? You only need to pick one and just get started. So my advice to you is, don't get too caught up in this process. Don't be like me and spend 3 days thinking about the best niche, because it's really not that deep. It's much, much more simple, and don't overcomplicate this process. So your next step is step 3, which is crafting your offer. What is it exactly that you sell, and how can you help these business owners when you're reaching out? So to craft your offer, we must first understand why people buy from you. And I got this image from Alex Hormozi from his book, $100 Million Offers. And I strongly recommend you read that book if you're interested in learning about how to craft your own offer. It's one of the best business books I have ever read. And in this image, what you're seeing is kind of the 5 levers as to why people want to buy from you, right? So obviously the first one is dream outcome. What is the desired dream outcome? Again, if we're selling cold emails, we're selling lead generation services, the desired outcome, the dream outcome of these people that you're reaching out to is making more money, right? By getting more customers, by generating them more sales call. So we understand that that is a very desired dream outcome, which is exactly why this offer sells, why it's so easy to sell lead generation services, because it is an offer, it is a desired outcome that people actually want. And the second thing that you want to pay attention to in this diagram is what's stopping them from achieving their goals, right? We know that these guys, these business owners, they want to make more money. I mean, who doesn't, right? But what's stopping them from actually making more money? They're making 500K right now, 50K a month. What's stopping them from getting to 100K per month? Is it a lack of sales calls? Is it because no one knows who they are? And because of this problem, you're able to tie your services, the lead generation agency services, directly to the dream outcome, and basically tell them, we will help you get more customers. Right now, you want to make more money, but the reason why you can't, why you're struggling to make more money, is because you don't have the amount of paid customers, the amount of sales calls that you need in order to double your revenue in the next 6 months. right? So that's exactly, again, right? I hope you're starting to understand why selling lead generation as a service is so valuable and why it's so easy to sell, because they're selling a really good dream outcome. The problems that that these business owners are having that's stopping them from achieving their goals is the solution that you are providing. So your next question is, how do we create as much value as possible? And I took this diagram. It's kind of a formula. I'm personally not that great at math, so I was a little bit intimidated with formulas, but the more I looked into it, the more straightforward and actually simple this formula is, and it actually makes sense, right? So what actually creates value? The first one is obviously the dream outcome. We just talked about that. Are you selling something that people actually want? After that, let's assume you are selling something that people actually want. How likely is it for them to achieve this result, right? So how likely are they to achieve this result that you are trying to tell them that they want, right? And obviously after that, the next question is, how long will it take them to achieve this result? So if you reach out to these companies and tell them it'll take you 3 years to double your revenue, then obviously that doesn't sound as appealing as telling them we will help you double your revenue in the next 6 months, because the timelines is just so much shorter. People always want things quick, and that is one of the levers that you want to pull on when you are selling your offer. And finally, the last question is, how much effort and time will it take for them to achieve this desired result? So for example, right, everyone wants to make more money. But if I tell you that in order for you to make more money, you will have to work like a dog. You will have to work for 14 hours straight for 6 months straight until you make $1 online. Obviously, that doesn't sound as appealing as me telling you you will be able to make $1 online by spending 10 minutes a day on this, right? Because people look for passive streams that will allow them to succeed and get to their desired result with the least amount of effort and the least amount of time required. And this is exactly why people sell so much information and sell so much stuff surrounding passive income, right? How do I make this much money without doing anything? How do I make this much money by sleeping, right? Because sleeping and doing nothing is 0 effort and 0 time. And as a result, it comes off as extremely appealing, right? And that's exactly what creates value. So in terms of the actual offer, now that we understand why people buy from us and what exactly creates value, we must first create our offer. And this is kind of what we're using when we reach out to people. So the biggest mistake you can do is when you're reaching out to anyone trying to sell your service is you're not clear as to what you do. You're not clear as to how you can help them. You're not clear as to what the result will be if that person pays you money and works with you. So the way to fix that is by crafting a very clear and direct offer. So the way that I go about creating offers is I follow this framework. We help target clients do results within time frame without pain point by using unique mechanism or risk reversal. And obviously you want to plug and play your specific offer into this framework. And you might be a little bit confused right now because of these variables, and maybe what I said just went over your head and it didn't really make sense. But to give you an example of a specific offer that I personally used when I was working with software development agencies a few months ago, this was my offer. We make it unreasonable for software development agencies to not sign 3 to 5 projects in the next 89 days without relying on word of mouth or relying on referrals by leveraging our outbound prospecting framework, and we only get paid on results. So you're able to see how I'm plugging in my own offer into this framework, right? We work with software development agencies. I'm specifically calling out these people. We help them sign 3 to 5 projects in the next 89 days. Projects is their own jargon inside the software development agency. And that's one of the things you want to research in your niche as well, because every single industry has their own unique words, jargon, and way of saying things. They use the word projects. So the result that we will get them is we will help them get 3 to 5 projects in the next 89 days. 89 days is the time frame. And then without relying on word of mouth, which is the pain point, most of these software development agencies right now, they're getting all of their meetings, getting all of their customers by relying on word of mouth and referrals. And obviously that's a problem because it's not very consistent. So we're specifically calling it out inside our offer. And then after that, we are doing this. We're helping you sign 3 to 5 new projects by leveraging our outbound prospecting framework. A lot of people get tripped up about this. It's just the name that we give to our system. Obviously over here, I can say we will help you get 3 to 5 new projects by leveraging cold emails. But as a marketer, that does not sound as appealing as saying by leveraging our outbound prospecting framework, because it creates so much more intrigue, it creates a ton more curiosity, and gets people who this is relevant for to really ask themselves, how does this work? Let me find out more. So if we did say by leveraging our cold email system, that's just way too straightforward. And someone who read that, they're like, oh, this guy's just sending cold emails. It's not for me. It is what it is. I already know everything I know. And people will feel like the information they know right now is they already know it all, which is, again, is simply incorrect. But the way that we solve this is by leveraging a name, right? We want to give a name to our system. Don't overthink this. Just give it a random name, a relatively short name, 2 words, 3 words, that type of thing. And the final part of the offer is, and we only get paid on results. So this is the risk reversal. If you are starting from scratch, you're a complete beginner, you don't have a single case study, you will need some form of risk reversal, otherwise known as a guarantee. And you don't always need a money back guarantee. You don't have to say, we will work for you, and if this does not work, then we will refund you in full. Because obviously you still want to get paid on your time. You're spending time working with these people. You're spending a lot of effort, stuff of that nature. Maybe you have some team members that you want to pay. So you don't want to be refunding people. And because of our pricing structure that we went over earlier, because we're doing a setup fee plus performance, so every call we generate, we make, let's say, $250. That in by it of itself is a form of risk reversal, because if you don't get them any meetings, you get them 1 meeting or 2 meetings, whatever that is, then obviously you're not going to be making as much money as generating 10 sales calls, right? And again, these are all factors that tie into why this offer is so easy to sell, because it's so tangible. It's so easy to track based on metrics, right? You're either booking the meetings or you're not. And if you're not booking the meetings, then obviously you will not be paid thousands of dollars. But if you are booking the meetings, then you can make a lot of money as well. And this is why selling flat retainers is so challenging in today's business environment headed into 2024, is because a lot of these business owners, maybe they've been scammed before, right? Someone sold them ad services for $3,000 a month and they never got results, yet they were still on the hook for paying $3,000 a month. So because of this, because of our pricing structure, because we're doing performance, it removes a lot of risk from these business owners' mind. And as a result, as a complete beginner, if you don't have case studies and you're starting from zero, this is exactly what you will need. And obviously, as you go on and you get case studies for yourself, you become highly proficient at what you do, then you can remove this part and you don't need any form of guarantee. You can switch your pricing structure into a flat retainer if you want. But that only works after you've proven to the market that you're good at what you do, you have results, and you have a ton of case studies to back that up as evidence. So step 4 is building your leads list. So obviously we have our niche, we have our offer, we identify who we want to reach out to, but since we are doing emails, you can't email nobody, right? You still need a list of people, their names. These are decision makers, people who will make the decision for these companies that you're reaching out to, and we need their contact information, their email addresses, and their phone numbers. So how do we actually reach out to these people? And the answer is by building a leads list. So pretty much this is just a spreadsheet on Google Sheets or on Microsoft Excel with the decision makers and their email addresses, and you will be reaching out to these people, pitching your offers. And because scraping leads is definitely a little bit more hands-on as opposed to just straight theory that I can explain to you right now, I actually put together these 2 YouTube videos walking you through the exact process to build your own leads list. We are leveraging 2 tools, Apollo.io and LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Each of these videos go through a different tool. This one is Apollo, this one is LinkedIn. And in these 2 videos, I literally screen share and show you, this is the button I will click, these are the filters I use, this is exactly what I do to scrape leads. And obviously for the purpose of this video, because this video is a little bit more theory side of things, it wouldn't make sense for me to go in and show you exactly how to do this when I have these 2 YouTube videos. So after this video, as you are going through this process step by step and you get to this point, which is creating your own leads list, I want you to go and watch these 2 videos because I literally share with you the exact process. I screen share my screen and show you how I personally build leads lists for my own agency, and I walk you through that process. And if you copy everything that you see, you will walk out of that with a really nice leads list. So I break down the entire process for free. And again, right, I've had numerous people message me on Instagram telling me how, they bought courses from other people and those courses never went over this process. I'm not too certain why, because it's such an integral part of building, of cold email success is finding these people to actually email. And people watch these two videos and have told me how valuable they are. But in summary, we are using either Apollo.io or we're using LinkedIn Sales Navigator to find the specific decision makers that we will be reaching out to. And in an ideal situation, I would be walking you through that process right now. But since I don't want this video to be, crazy long, 3-4 hours, that type of thing, I want to make sure that you still understand exactly how the process works. Please watch those two videos where I scrape leads in front of you and build my entire leads list. The next step is step 5, which is writing the cold email campaigns. We are at the point where we are discussing the actual money makers, which is the cold email script writing. And this is by far where most people struggle, as it requires the most skill, dedication, and the research to become good at what you do. But before we actually write the cold emails, what you should have is the niche. So who you're working with, your offer, so what you're selling. You should have your leads list, but we actually need to go and figure out and answer some questions before we get to writing these emails. Because obviously, depending on who we're reaching out to, you might want to use a different strategy and you write something different depending on who you're reaching out to, right? Are you reaching out to the CMOs of a company with 25 plus employees? Is it for CEOs of companies with less than 5 employees? Or are you reaching out to CEOs of 100 plus employee IT companies? And in each of the 3 instances, the way that we'll write the cold email will be completely different. So depending on your customer profile, the copy will vary heavily, right? So if you think that you're writing the same email to a solopreneur as you would to a Fortune 500 CEO, obviously you wouldn't, right? And that's exactly the concept I want you to internalize, is every single person that we reach out to will be writing it in a specific way, in a different way compared to another leads list that we'll be building. So we must first understand our ideal customer profile, that stands for ICP. So basically the niche that they're in, so what industry they're in, what their title is, and what those typical roles and responsibilities are. You want to understand the employee count. So how big are these companies? Are they small companies, medium-sized companies, large companies? Because that makes a massive difference as well. And you also want to understand the jargon, right? So similar to the offer, right? In software development agencies, they use the word projects. In marketing agencies, they use the word clients, right? To describe lead generation, recruitment agencies use the word business development. They actually don't use the word lead generation. They use the word business development. And these are all specific industry related jargons, specific ways of saying things inside that industry. And you want to be making sure that you're using those words, because if you use the wrong words, then you will look like a fool basically, right? Because no one really speaks in that term. They'll understand what you're saying, but it just will not hit home. It won't resonate the same way as you using the right words. So the more specific and relevant we can be with each of these details in our copy is what's going to create high conversion meetings. And again, I have a whole separate video on my YouTube channel titled I Sent 1 Million Cold Emails, Everything That You Need to Know. And in that video, it's 1 hour and 4 minutes long. I break down every single thing specifically about cold emails. And I want to do the same thing in this video. I want to summarize that a little bit, because in that video, I talk and go directly into the weeds. How do you do this? How do you segment your list? Stuff of that nature. How do you write very specific copy? But for the purposes of this video, I don't want to confuse you. And I want you to just understand how this works so you can get started right away in the most simplest and most easy to understand way possible. So to skip to the sauce, I want you to watch this video. After this video, I want you to go back and watch this, because it will explain to you everything you know. And after watching this 1 hour video, you will be a master at cold emails basically, right? But to skip to the sauce, obviously there are different frameworks you can use, but every successful cold email, it really boils down to 4 key variables. The first one is your intro. The second one is your offer, which we went over. The third one is your case studies, if you have case studies. If you don't have case studies, then ignore this part. And the fourth part is your call to action, your CTA. What is your direct next step that you're asking these people to do alongside your process? And based on my data, after sending 1 million plus cold emails myself and for my clients, and after booking hundreds and hundreds of sales calls, the best cold emails, they all follow the following rules and the following guidelines. The first one is they're all under 20 seconds to read. Because if you write 3-paragraph long emails, some people have cold emailed me and they're like 3-paragraph long. I will not read it. People will not read it because people have short attention spans and you are interrupting people in their day. So if you think someone's gonna spend 3 minutes reading through your entire cold email, then that's not gonna work. You want to make sure that your emails are written in a way that can be skimmed, that are below 20 seconds, and those are the best performing emails based on our data. The second one is you want to be direct and to the point with little fluff. So the reason people have 3-paragraph long emails is, I can guarantee if they're 3-paragraph long, they have a ton of fluff. Words that don't move the needle forward, right? You want to be direct with as little fluff as possible, and you want to be to the point, and every word that you write should be there for a reason and should move the conversation forward. The next one is a focus on them, so the reader, as opposed to me. So a lot of people write cold emails and they write it in the sense of I did this, I am this person, I work for this company, my role is, I want to do this, right? But you don't want to use those words because people only care about themselves, right? When you're reaching out to people, you want to focus on you. You want this, you do this, you want to achieve X, Y, and Z. You don't want to use the words I. And that's one of the largest mistakes that people make with cold emails. I personally see it. Again, I get a ton of cold emails myself in my own inbox, and tons of people make this cardinal rule when they're sending cold emails, and they just don't see any results or see any success doing that for that specific reason. And finally, your offer needs to be clear. Now, obviously, we went through the offer creation format, and if you follow that to a T, your offer will be clear. People will read that and know exactly what you're saying. But the largest mistake people make is if I read through that email, if you read through an email I send you, and by the end of reading that email, you're left scratching your head and you're left asking yourself, what does this person want from me? How can they help me? Then you kind of messed up along this process, basically. So you want to make sure every email you send is very clear, your ask is clear, and they know exactly how you're helping them. So fundamentally, this is what a successful cold email could look like. I wrote this out just to show you what a successful cold email looks like. This hits all of these guidelines above, below 20 seconds, zero fluff, stuff of that nature. And I'm just gonna read it over to you. Building off of the offer we use with the software development agencies that we did in the previous step. Hi, John. We make it unreasonable for software development agencies to not sign 3 to 5 projects in the next 89 days without relying on word of mouth by leveraging our outbound prospecting framework, and we only get paid on results. So that's our offer. I put together a quick video running through how this works. Mind if I share it with you here? So that's our call to action. Mind if I share it with you here? And obviously, there are so many different angles that you can use in your cold emails. You could be very creative with this. There's just so much room to play around with this. And this is not a set in stone thing where write it this way and you will get results. If you write it this way, you will get results. But obviously, there's a bunch of other ways to write it. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. And cold emails is the perfect example of this, right? So you can start your cold email with a pain point related question. You can ask a simple 1-line yes or no question. An email that worked really well for me was when I was reaching out to recruitment agencies. I literally started off by saying, hey, John, is your company taking on new clients? It's a very simple yes or no question, and that cold email ripped for me. It got me a ton of replies, got me a ton of meetings, and I closed a few clients using that specific cold email. So there's a lot of room for you to play around, and you could definitely play around with the format of your cold emails. And after this section, I'm telling you that you could be creative with it. You're probably asking yourself, how do we mention pain points in the emails? So a really effective way of doing that is we can call out pain by asking a relevant question or by mentioning a problem that you noticed. So after you mention that problem, we then want to offer a solution. So here's an example for a clothing chief marketing officer of a clothing e-commerce brand. You can literally say something like, notice a few mistakes in your welcome flow that could be costing you 9% conversions every single month. So this specific sentence, notice a few mistakes, we're calling out a specific problem that they're having, a problem that you noticed. And then the next step is just saying, so I made you a video covering how to fix this mistake. Can I share it with you? So you're pointing out a specific problem that they have and you're tying it to how you can help them. We noticed you have this problem. Here is how we can help. Do you want me to show you how? That's exactly what we're doing. And even with this cold email, this is a completely different angle from the one that I just shared with you. And this one will work extremely well as well. So hopefully you're able to see, you can be really creative. You're able to play around with different things. And there's just a lot of room for you to go and test different things to get results. But this is fundamentally a good cold email as it's extremely direct. It's to the point. There's no fluff. Our offer is super clear and it takes less than 20 seconds to read. So I actually went on Google. I copied this cold email. I just searched up read to text, right time, something like that. And I used the first link and I pasted my email in, and it actually said for the average person, it takes 19 seconds for them to read through this cold email, which falls with our guidelines of below 20 seconds. So if you're asking yourself, how do I make these emails shorter? This is exactly how. I just showed you a cold email that fits all of these guidelines that is below 20 seconds. Right? And a major aspect to why these cold emails following these guidelines work so well is because of our call to action, our CTA. And the way that most people send cold emails, the way that most people online teach cold emails is you're saying your thing, you're talking about what you do, how you can help them. And at the end of that email, you're basically saying, mind if we set up a time to chat? Do you have 30 minutes on Thursday or Friday to chat? That is the way most people, 99% of people, are cold emailing. And I'm gonna tell you why that angle will not work as well as it used to work, right? So for example, right here on the screenshot, this is a cold email that I got earlier this year. And you can pause this video and read through this cold email. There's a couple things that I would change. But the main thing I want to focus on right now is the call to action. Over here, they wrote, can you chat later today? So basically their next step is, do you have time? Let's set up a Zoom. Let's set up a Google Meet. Let's hop on a call so you can sell me. Basically, that's basically what they're actually saying. And the number one thing you have to understand is when we're sending cold emails, we're reaching out to something called cold traffic, meaning these people, they don't know who you are. Jimmy Fung emailed you. Who's Jimmy Fung? I have never heard of that name in my life. I don't know who this person is. Does this person even exist? Who knows? And you have to understand that. Cold traffic, they don't know you at all, and they also do not trust you, because for all you know, for all they know, you could be a scammer. They don't know that, right? And that's the largest mistake with this call to action, is you're trying to get people who fundamentally have no clue who you are, who do not trust you, and you're trying to take time out of their day. Most of these people that you reach out to, they're business owners. They are very, very busy. I run a business myself. I'm super busy as well. And I will never want to take 30 minutes out of my day to chat with someone that I do not trust and that I do not know. And more than that, I will jump onto that call knowing that these people will aggressively hard sell me, basically, right? Pitch me like crazy, objection handle me like crazy. And I already know that. So why would I reply back to Rachel and tell her, yeah, sure, let's set up a time? I will not reply back to Rachel with, yeah, let's set up a time. And neither will these business owners that you're reaching out with if you're using this direct hard pitch call to action asking for time on the calendar, right? So it doesn't make sense. What you need to do is you need to give them something before you ask for something in return. You give before you ask. That's the rule of life, right? You give before you ask. You give value before you take something back, which is why we are leveraging something called the value permission based CTA. And again, right, most people do not cold email this way. And obviously that's why that if they've tried cold emails, they don't get results. It's because they are probably pitching a call at the end of their cold email and they're not getting any responses because no one knows who they are and no one wants to take 30 minutes to talk with them. So a really good example of a value permission based CTA is I put together a quick video running through exactly how this works. Mind if I share it with you here? So what we're asking with this call to action is we're not pitching a time. We're not asking if they're interested in learning more. We're basically saying, you're having issues doing this. We have the solution. I have a quick video that I made showing you exactly how to solve this issue. Can I share it with you? So it's so low friction. It's basically super no-brainer, right? Because if they actually have that problem, if it's relevant for them in their situation, the prospect situation, it's a no-brainer. You're not asking for anything. You're basically just asking, can I send you a video where I show you exactly how to solve this problem, exactly how to get to your results, right? You're not asking for time. You're giving them something. You're asking for permission to educate them, to give them value. And only a dummy will say no to that, basically, right? If they actually have this problem, right? And using this way of doing a call to action it's a lot less friction since you're asking to give them value, as opposed to asking for something from them right off the bat. And using a value permission-based CTA, it will instantly skyrocket your reply rates. So what you're seeing right now on my screen is my smartlead.ai account. This is the software that we'll be using to automate all of our cold email sending, because obviously we're not sending 1,500 cold emails a day manually behind the screen, typing away on Gmail, Outlook, and manually sending these emails. We are automating this entire process. And the reason why I wanted to show you this on my screen right now is you see a campaign that I launched to recruitment agencies in September 2023. I actually created on September 10th. So I think I sent this from middle of September to the middle of October. But I labeled it September because that's when I set it up. And as you can see, based on our data, I'm just gonna refresh this so that you know that this is real. I'm not, editing numbers or whatever. We reached out to 4,814 recruitment agency decision makers. Of that, we received 946 replies. So obviously, I think this number is a little bit wrong. I'm not the best at math, but I'm pretty sure it's not 30%. I think it is closer to 20%. It might be a little bit over 20%. So we got roughly 20% reply rates. So a lot of people I see, they're getting 3% reply rates. And I know why. It's because of all the things I just outlined, the call to action, the way to writing the cold emails. But using these exact strategies, I was able to get 20% plus reply rates. I got 67 positive reply rates. So these are the people who are just super high intent. And basically, of these positive replies, I don't have the specific number, but more than 50% of these people will have booked a call with me. And that's on the low end, right? Realistically, I definitely got a lot more than 50% of these 67 people on a call. But since I don't remember, I'm just going to say 50% to be extremely conservative, right? So that is 33 sales calls. 33 sales calls. That's a ton of sales calls. And there's no way you don't close a couple clients, right? Even if you're completely terrible and you close one guy, that's one person out of 30, which is a terrible rate. Terrible rate. That one client is paying you $2,500 setup fee, $3,000 setup fee, $2,000 setup fee, plus price pay per performance booking model, right? So I wanted to share my screen to show you that even the strategies that I'm sharing with you in this video, it works. And this is literally proof, right? I got a 64% open rates. So a lot of people, they struggle and get 30 to 40% open rates. That's a deliverability factor. But the main thing I want to show you is the reply rates, because obviously they're just not getting the replies that they want. And if they're not getting the replies, they're not getting booked meetings. And if they're not getting booked meetings, then they're not making sales. And this is exactly why so many people struggle with cold emails. So I wanted to jump into this Smart Lead screen share and kind of just break this down in front of you so that you do understand that everything I'm sharing with you in this video, I personally use it myself and it will get you results. So jumping back into the presentation. So now that you've seen for yourself, I provided you evidence that what I'm sharing with you in terms of all of this cold email stuff, it works. If you do it the right way, you will get a ton of replies, get a ton of meetings off of a few thousand leads. You understand how that works. I want to outline something as well. The best part about learning the lead generation model, selling this as a service, selling cold emails as a service, is the exact same process that we use to get clients for ourselves, book meetings for ourselves, is the exact same process that we use for our clients. So for me, when I first started, I did SMMA, I did Facebook ads for e-com brands, I did email marketing for e-com brands. The biggest challenge was I figured out how to book meetings, but once I actually got them as clients, I didn't know anything about deliverability, right? For email marketing, delivering the actual service of email marketing was a completely different thing from actually booking meetings. I needed to learn graphic design, long form copywriting, setting up all these flows, these email campaigns, stuff of that nature, writing newsletters. And that was just a completely different beast. And as a complete beginner, I obviously did not have the skill set nor the ability to learn 15 different skills all at once. So that's one of the reasons why lead generation agency, this business model, is so effective and so good for beginners, because you're really only learning one skill, and that one skill is learning how to book meetings. Because once you're able to book meetings for yourself, you will, with enough meetings, you will close clients. And once you get a client, you're literally looping this entire process and applying everything you did to get yourself a client except for your client, basically, right? So this is a screenshot of one of the clients that we are working with who we signed in January 2023. He runs a recruitment agency. And as you can see, his first message to me Friday, January 20th was, "Hi, Jimmy, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to give you an update on my current situation. I fired my existing cold email agency. They were not getting the results that I needed. My main concern was their volume was way too low. You can see their performance in the attached file." So again, I'm not too surprised because most people, they suck at cold emails because they learn it off some other person online, on YouTube, on Google. They buy some random course, and people are just not sharing the sauce, basically, right? Or the stuff they're teaching is outdated or it's just not working. But even in my screen share with the Smart Lead account, I showed you literally the campaign I sent in September 2 to 3 months ago. It cooked for me. I landed clients from that. It cooked, right? So I'm sharing the most up-to-date information that no one else online is doing. And on top of that is I have never seen a single person screen share that campaign showing you the analytics. They just told you they get these amount of replies, these amount of book calls, but I'm literally breaking this down and showing with you how it works. I'm literally showing you the numbers. And using the same process, we were able to help him on February 6th. So that's 2 weeks later, he was able to sign VMware. And then he was able to sign Interlink Mortgage as well. So he signed 2 clients for his own recruitment agencies, and recruitment agencies, they make a ton of money, right? They charge 30% off a base salary. And let's assume that my client, he is filling roles that cost $100,000. From each of these clients, he made $60,000. Now, obviously, it makes sense to pay me $3,000 a month for my services when he's making $60,000 in exchange. That's more than 20 times the return on investment, right? So he runs a recruitment agency for tech and finance companies, and using this exact cold email process, we were able to help him book meetings with VMware and Interlink, and he went on to sign both. And if you don't know what VMware is, I want you to search it up. VMware, it was publicly listed, publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and it got acquired by Broadcom.com. But basically, I couldn't find the stock ticker symbol, otherwise it would be here. But as you can see, in 2023, VMware made $13.4 billion USD. 13.4 billion, right? There, people, in this video, you're struggling to get to $10,000 a month, right? This company is making $13.4 billion, right? And the reason I'm showing you this is because cold emails is just so powerful when it comes to booking meetings. You can literally reach out to anybody, and using this exact cold email process, we were able to help our clients not only get in contact with these billion-dollar companies, but actually able to help him sign and make money by working with these billion-dollar companies, right? And even that 60,000 number that I mentioned of how much money he can make, that's on the lower end. I want to be conservative. I don't run a recruitment agency, so I don't have the solid numbers, but I guarantee you he made a ton of money, right? He's working with a billion-dollar company. These are companies with money to spend. He definitely made a ton of money, definitely over 6 figures for sure, right? Just from me helping him send cold emails, right? So this process works just so well. You could use it to reach out to small companies below 5 employees, middle-sized companies around 50 employees. You could use it even to reach out to companies with thousands of employees making billions of dollars. So one of the major things, on top of the fact that you obviously want to be following the cold email guidelines, is actually creating your VSL. So everybody, a lot of people I talk to, I work with when they first get started with me, I ask them, how's your cold emails doing? And they tell me it just never worked, or they're not getting results, not getting replies, not getting open rates, not booking meetings at all. And everyone thinks the secret to cold email success is to send a ton of emails or to send personally crafted emails. And while both of these things are extremely important due to it being at the top of the funnel, obviously if you're saying a bunch of garbage, then obviously you're not going to get results. That's kind of a granted. But you have to think of cold emails as kind of the top of the funnel, as a form of direct response marketing. So theoretically, someone can copy your exact cold email scripts. They could copy my exact cold email scripts, take my exact lead list. Anybody can do that. But what separates someone who's making a ton of money with their outbound cold emails versus someone who just struggles and books a few meetings here and there is the middle of funnel. So remember how earlier I mentioned that people that you cold email, they just don't know you, nor do they trust you. So our biggest question is, how do we take these people who don't trust us, who don't know us, and get them to know us, and get them to trust us, and get them to a point where they're willing to pay us thousands of dollars at the end of a sales call, right? And please pay attention here, because this is what will create interest for your offer, create trust and rapport, and help you pre-sell your prospects by warming them up. So if there's any part of this video, pay attention here because it's the most important aspect of cold emails that I have personally found. And again, I've never seen anyone talk about this, so you're probably hearing about this for the very first time. So the secret is leveraging video sales letters, a VSL for your offer. And this is the process, this is the difference between collecting cash quickly in your business or struggling and feeling like you're scraping by for pieces of businesses and really just struggling to make cold emails work. And this is essentially what allowed me, once I figured this out, this is what allowed me to go from zero to making $10,500 in my lead generation agency in 22 days. And what has allowed me to collect $150,000 cash in the first 7 months of 2023 and have my first $50,000 month in December 2023 at the end of last month. So once I figured this out, it completely changed the game for me. And to show you how it works, I put this image together. I'm just gonna zoom in. Basically, if we look at the top of the funnel, this is how we acquire attention. Obviously, there's different ways you can go about doing this. I personally do it using cold emails, but people run ads, people do cold DMs on Instagram, LinkedIn, stuff of that nature. But the reason they're doing that is because they're just trying to acquire attention, basically getting as many eyeballs on your business as possible. And this is why volume is so important for cold emails, because if you're able to send 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 cold emails, you're getting 2,000 eyeballs on your business every single day. You're finding people and you're putting your business in front of them. And that's why paid ads work so well. You're paying money to run an ad to get in front of people, but obviously that costs a lot more money. But that's just the top of the funnel. That's how you get attention. Where the magic is the middle of the funnel, the nurturing. You're taking these people who know about your business, they see your business, but they don't know you, they don't trust you. And what you want to do is, with the value-based CTA, we are asking for permission to send them information, to show them a video that we put together solving their exact problem. And in that video, it is a video sales letter. It's not just a random video where you just talk about a bunch of random stuff. That purpose of that video is to educate these people on the problem they have, what the solution is, and you're indirectly selling them as to why you are the best person to help them. You're the best solution to help them solve this problem and to implement this solution, right? So we're adding a VSL into the process, and basically we're telling them your results-based offer and asking for permission. Show them, so that's a CTA. You're not asking for time on a call, just as a recap for the CTA. And with this video, your goal is to deliver as much value as you humanly can in a 20 to 30 minute educational sales video. And essentially the way it works with this funnel is you're taking the cold emails, you're diverting the attention, the eyeballs onto your VSL, where you do a lot of the heavy lifting. In that video, if you do this process correctly, you are showing authority, you're showing expertise in your offer, because obviously if you could give them a new insight, you're educating them, they will look to you as someone, oh, this person knows more than me, let me find out how they can help me. Right? And by doing this process correctly, you are also building trust with your audience, because now people know what you look like, they know what you sound like, they know you're real, they know you exist, and they know you actually know what you're talking about. If you're selling cold emails, do a video sales letter talking about how to make cold emails work, how to get cold emails to help them, book 10 meetings in the next month, right? And if you provide educational style insights where you teach them something that they did not previously know, they'll automatically assume and know that you know something about cold emails that they do not. And obviously the call to action in that video is to book a call. That's the purpose of this video. This is a sample that I made. This was my very first video sales letter that I've ever created. It was pretty bad. It's actually on my YouTube channel. So depending on when you see this video, just scroll a little bit down and you see a video with this thumbnail and just watch it. That was my first video sales letter and it absolutely cooked for me. Right? So if you have any doubts about this process, maybe you're asking yourself, oh, maybe this doesn't work. Or you're saying, I don't have a nice camera, I don't have a nice mic, I'm not that well spoken. Trust me, my first VSL was basically complete garbage. I filmed it off my laptop webcam using the built-in microphone, and I had zero editing, so terrible production quality. You can look at it here. You can scroll through my YouTube channel and you could probably find this and watch it yourself. It's 13 minutes long. I'm just talking about how service-based businesses and agency owners can fill up their sales calendar by leveraging cold emails. And this was terrible, but I still ran with this VSL, and using this exact VSL, I made $23,000 in February 2023, right? This is the same VSL I used to get started, go from $0 to $10,000 a month in 22 days in December 2023. I made $13,000 in January, and I made $23,000 in February. And all of this process, all 3 of these months, I used this exact same VSL. And obviously after that, I redid my VSL. I made it better. I bought a camera, bought a mic, stuff of that nature. And I just got better and understood how to make better VSL. So I refilmed it. But this was my very first VSL, and it just absolutely cooked. Right? So inside this video, I talked about the benefits of my lead generation services in the initial cold email. With a CTA, mind if I share with you a quick video showing you how this works? So asking for permission, they obviously said yes. And then I sent them a link to my YouTube video, and this VSL cooked. I printed meetings left and right, and I was able to sign a bunch of clients for my own lead generation agency. And what you're seeing right now is a screen share of my own calendar. Whenever people book meetings for my own agency, I obviously get the invite on my calendar, Google Calendar. This is what you see right now. And when I was doing this was January 2023. So I used that VSL, that really bad VSL, from December until February, end of February, early March, that type of thing, 2023. And as you can see, all of these Aqua level 1s, these are all sales calls from people, right? These are business owners. They are real, right? Obviously, these are business owners, right? And I just printed a ton of meetings. So this was middle of January. Next week in January, I booked a ton more meetings. I'm just scrolling through this, right? A ton of these meetings. This guy actually declined it, which happens, right? A ton of these meetings. This is February, right? I'm just ripping meetings. Look how many meetings I'm getting. I don't even know how many meetings this is because of how many there are. This is probably at least 100 sales calls by itself for my agency. And if you're taking 100 sales calls for your agency, there is no way that you do not sign clients and you do not make money. And by the way, while I was doing this, I was also a university student. So I actually graduated in May 2023. So this entire process, I was a university student as well. And I was still able to make $10,000, $20,000 a month while as a university student. So I just wanted to share my calendar with you here, just to show you that this exact process works. It works extremely well. If you have any doubts about what I'm sharing with you with the cold email scripting, with the VSL, hopefully this clears up a lot of those doubts. And because I'm literally sharing with you my calendar, my analytics, to prove to you that this works. And again, I've never seen a single person online do this, but I am doing this, right? Just to show you that what I'm telling you actually works, and it works extremely well. So if you like making money and you want to succeed with cold emails, build your lead generation agency and go from $0 to $10,000 a month, then please add this to your outreach process. I just showed you proof of how effective it is, and you do the same thing, you will get results. And if you do this process correctly, basically what will happen is you will be able to sell your service without talking to people. If you have a great video sales letter, everything else can be terrible, right? You can miss the mark a little bit on your cold emails and it will still convert like a champ. I'll still book you a ton of meetings, right? You will be able to warm up your prospects before the call, and it will significantly shorten the sales cycle of, how long it'll take you from having that initial conversation towards collecting cash, because now these people know what you do, they trust you, they like you, that type of thing, right? You'll be able to qualify your leads so much better since leads are being educated before they book in a call with you. So when you do this process correctly, the people who do jump onto calls, they're just asking logistical questions. You don't even have to convince them why cold emails is the best channel for outreach. They're basically just asking you, how long will your process take? What's the expected results? How much do you charge? And at that point, you talk about your setup fees, your pricing structures, that type of thing, right? And that's what will happen when you create an effective video sales letter and you do this process correctly and have it dialed. And if you pair up this strategy with a process that puts thousands of eyeballs on your VSL, you will make it rain. And obviously that process is cold emails, right? We're taking that eyeballs, we're taking that attention, and we're funneling it through to our video sales letter, right? And basically the whole goal, the whole premise of this process is it will take cold traffic, so people who don't know you, people who don't trust you, and turn them into warm prospects, meaning people who now know what you do, how you can help them, and they also trust and like you. So again, I have another diagram, a very high level diagram explaining to you how it works. So obviously the cold emails, we're sending these emails with a value CTA. people reply back, yes, let's see this video, you're sending them a lead magnet, which in this case is your VSL that you'll be putting onto YouTube. That's what I did. I put mine on YouTube. People watch that VSL and they'll book a time on your calendar. They'll jump onto your sales call and they already know what it is that you do. And obviously that's the sales call. And that's kind of the secret sauce, right? This is the secret sauce to cold emails. If you write the right things, so you follow the guidelines I outlined above in terms of zero fluff, sub 20 seconds, that type of thing, you pair up with a very strong video sales letter, you will succeed. This is the secret sauce. And this is why most people who struggle with cold emails, they struggle because they don't do any of these things. So whenever someone tells me that they sent 1,000 cold emails and haven't booked a single call, I always ask them, hey, are you leveraging a video sales letter? And they always look at me starry-eyed and say, what's a VSL? What's a video sales letter, right? How does that work? And that's exactly why they are struggling with this process. Okay, so awesome. We understand how cold emails work. We understand how to build a powerful converting VSL. You implement it and you're getting a ton of meetings on your calendar. You're talking with a lot of prospects, asking them questions, seeing if they have a problem that you can help solve. Your next step is how do you actually close deals? And in step 8, this is exactly what we will be talking about, right? So right here, you see a picture of Jordan Belfort. This is a scene from Wolf of Wall Street. It's one of my favorite movies. And I do this up here because it's pretty relevant because that movie is very heavily talking about sales, which is a really popular topic, one of my favorite topics. So I do it in this picture of Jordan Belfort trying to close a deal. And in this step, this is where people book calls with you. But how do you actually close these sales calls and walk away collecting thousands of dollars within a few minutes? So the first thing you need to understand is because of the VSL, if you do this process correctly, because of the middle of funnel, where you're essentially taking these people who don't know who you are and you're warming them up so that they understand what you do, who you are, and how you can help them, these people who book sales calls with you, their closes are just so much more easy. Because these people, they already understand what you do. They trust you. They trust the process. Now on these calls, they're just trying to figure out the logistics behind it, basically, right? How do you talk? How do you move, right? How do you present yourself? What is the timelines of your process? What are the expected results? That type of thing. What's your cost? Right? And the reason they're able to do this is because they already know what you do at a high level. So you shouldn't need to jump on these calls and feel like you are convincing them or persuading them or pitching them really hard on anything, because you should simply only be there to answer logistical questions. Again, timelines, how it works, stuff like that, and figuring out if they have a problem which you can help solve with your service, with your lead generation service. And once I was able to understand this, and understand this little mindset shift, selling became just super easy for myself because I didn't feel the need to jump on these calls and aggressively pitch anyone or anything, right? Rather, I was just deciding for myself if I can help them or if they can't, and if they could pay the price to work with me, basically, and invest into the service to actually get results, to get meetings on the calendar, and to help them make more money. So in this video, I mean, obviously, sales is a skill. At the end of the day, if you've never taken a single sales call, then obviously you will not be as good as you 3 months from now after taking 100 sales calls. That's just the fact. There's no way to shortcut this, and no amount of theory will help you instantly become good at sales. You just have to be in the trenches, taking these sales calls, having these conversations every single day. And after you take 100 sales calls, you will be much, much better. So understand that this is a skill set, this aspect of the business model, and you will be bad in the beginning, but you will slowly get better. But to give you a high level overview of how we actually have these sales conversations, kind of the agenda and the framework to control, I wouldn't say control, but to lead the conversation forward so you could actually make money at the end of that sales conversation, is obviously you want to start with the intro and agenda. You want to introduce yourself, get them to introduce themselves. Don't focus too much on small talk here. Don't talk about the weather or this or that. Just jump right into it. Set the agenda for the call. Basically say, hey, John, we have 30 minutes on the calendar today. Let's jump right into it so we don't waste too much time. That's personally how I intro into the call. And then I say, so the way this works, John, in this conversation is obviously, I'm assuming you watched this video, you understand how it works. I want to use the next 30 minutes, ask you some questions about your business, understand what you sell, who you work with, that type of thing. And if it's good with you, we could talk about next steps. How does that sound, John? And I say it like that. That's how I set the agenda for the call. After that, the first things that I want to know about is obviously the current business state. So what products or services do they sell? What are their price points to understand how much they make, and if you're able to charge your few $1,000s, because if you ask them the price points and they tell you, oh yeah, we're selling a product or service for $50, then obviously you know that your cold email services is not a good fit, because there's just no way they'll be able to pay you $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month when they're only making $50 per customer. Right? You also want to understand what industries and niches that they work with, and what are the end results of their clients. If they're selling SEO services, why do people buy their services? And this ties back to the offer, right? Why do people buy their SEO services? Why do people buy their copywriting services? What is that specific desired end result that they are selling to these people? After that, you want to understand their current sales process. So what are they currently doing right now to get new customers and clients? Obviously, if they're on this call, they probably want more customers and want more clients, but they probably have a couple clients themselves already. So how did they get those clients right now? Was it word of mouth? Was it referrals? Did they, do cold emails in the past and it just never worked out? Do they run ads? What is that process like? How are they currently booking meetings for their own business? And what are the results of that current process? If they tried cold emails in the past and it just never got results, why is that, right? Do you think it's a volume thing? Do they think it is the offer thing? They just don't know why it didn't work out, right? You want to understand these things. You want to understand how they currently get sales, get more customers. What does that process look like? Have they ever considered cold emails for outreach? Obviously, if they watch this VSL, then the answer is most likely yes. But you still want to ask this question, because if someone replies to you and say, no, Jimmy, I don't think cold emails will work for my business, then just get off the call, because there's no point trying to convince them that cold emails work when they already don't believe it themselves. That's just not going to work, and you will never be able to close that person. So always ask this question: have they considered cold emails for outreach? What are their thoughts for cold emails? And if they've tried it before, what happened and what were the results, and why do they not do it anymore, right? Or if they do it right now, why are you guys chatting, right? What do they want from you? Right? After that, you also want to understand the future business state. So what are their goals for cold outreach? What are their goals with cold emails? How many meetings do they want to book? What does success look like for them in an ideal situation? You're working with them 3 months in. What does successful look like? What does a successful situation look like? Understand these things. And after, and only after you understand all of these things, you want to pitch and talk specifically about your service. You want to run through your expected end result with your clients. You want to walk through your process that you go through to achieve these specific results. And you want to use the answers that you're getting from some of these questions you're asking above to pitch your benefits. So if, for example, back to that example of that client who I worked with earlier this year, who got and signed VMware and Interlink Mortgage. On the sales call, I asked him, are you doing anything with cold emails? He says, yes, we're working with a cold email agency. And then I say, okay, so you're working with someone else. So why are we chatting, right? I'm obviously doing cold emails as well. What are you looking for from me that you're not currently getting right now? And he basically told me, oh yeah, we're not getting good results. I think the volume, they're not sending enough. They're sending 200 emails a day. That's just way too low. And obviously in my pitch, I made a very specific point to mention to him, yeah, we are sending 1,000 emails a day. We're sending 1,500 emails a day. That is 5 times more than what you're currently doing. So obviously we'll get more results. So I'm taking the answers that he gave me from some of the earlier questions and tying it back to my own lead generation services. And that's exactly how you bridge the gap between where they are right now and where they want to be. So this is a very high level framework of how you would run your sales calls. Obviously you want to add your own personality into it, but every sales conversation you should have, you need to make sure you're asking these questions, because this will give you really good insight into what they're currently doing right now and what they're looking for, and to help you determine if they have a problem that you can then solve. If you identify they don't have a problem, they jump on the call and tell you, oh yeah, we're printing a lot of meetings, we don't really need help with this. Obviously, I don't know why they're on the call, if that's the case. And there's a very strong chance that they're just bullshitting you. But if you come to that conclusion that they don't need your help, then just end the call, right? Don't waste your time pitching your services, just end the call right there. And at the end of the day, sales is a numbers game, and not everyone you jump on a call with will be closable. Some people that you chat with, they won't have problems you can solve. Some people, they just won't believe in the process, or they don't believe cold emails will work for their business. And some people, they even want to give you money and get started right away, get started ASAP, but the vibe just isn't right. You chat with them and you just don't like the way they move. You don't feel like they have the values of someone you want to get into business with, stuff of that nature, so you tell them no, right? So even if you have never taken a sales call in your life, because of the work we're doing with the VSL and how much heavy lifting that process does, and the middle of the funnel, which we talked about earlier, you should be able to close at least 30 to 40% of all the sales calls that you take, because you're not aggressively pitching, and these people are coming onto these calls already ready to work with you, assuming the logistics work out, the timelines work out, you're not selling your service for insanely crazy price that they just simply can't afford and it's outside their budget. They're just trying to figure these things out. And you should be able to close 30 to 40% of all your sales calls, even as a complete beginner and never taking a sales call in your life. At my own agency, using this exact same process with our VSL, our closing rate is literally close to 70%. So we're closing 7 in 10 people that we're jumping onto sales calls with, because the VSL process that I created is just so good in terms of creating trust, building rapport, doing all of those things. And we are doing all the heavy lifting before I even chat with them for the very first time. Now, obviously, I built multiple VSLs. I tested extensively, and now that I've done this process myself, booked tons of calls, I understand how everything works. And in a way, I'm just really proficient at it. So obviously my closing rate is 70%. Yours will likely not be 70% right off the bat, unless you're just really good at sales or you create a banger VSL right off the bat, which is highly unlikely. But you should literally aim for at least a 30 to 40% closing rate just right off the bat if you do this process correctly. And if you don't do this process correctly and you are closing 5% of your sales calls, 10% of your sales calls, then you have some work to do, right? Either your sales skills are just a little bit lacking, but more likely than that is probably your VSL. You're just not providing enough value. People just don't inherently trust you enough to give you money at the end of those calls to help them get more customers, basically. So finally, I want to make this point. And that's why making $10,000 a month by building a lead generation agency, why it is much easier than you think. And the reason why is because the numbers work in your favor, right? If you send enough cold emails, so you're focusing on the volume aspect, you follow the cold email frameworks that I outlined above, so you're not saying complete garbage, you're not writing terrible emails, you're following those guidelines, and you leverage a value-based CTA. So as a result, you're getting a ton of replies because you're not asking for anything in return. You create a properly done video sales letter using the frameworks, doing it the right way. There is just zero chance you don't make money following this process. If we take a look at the numbers from the cold email campaign I shared with you earlier when I sharing my screen inside SmartLead, we see that 21,000 because I every single lead I would follow up with them 5 times. So I had around 5,000 leads, or actually I followed them 4 times, right? Equals to 21,000, right? I got 64% open rates. I got 946 replies. So close to 20% of those 5,000 people replied back to me. And if we break down the math, right, I got 67 positive replies. Let's assume I had a 50% booking rate, which is on the lower side. Realistically, if I had to throw a number out there, my booking rate of these positive replies is somewhere between 70 and 80%. But let's just assume it's 50%. That means I have 33 calls. Of those 33 calls, let's assume I'm closing at 25% closing rate, which by the way is terrible, right? And that's significantly below the average. Again, if you do this process correctly, your closing rate should be 30 to 40%. I'm personally around 60 to 70%. But let's assume I was at 25% closing rate, that's 8 clients. And if each of those clients pay you $2,000 setup fee, you're making $16,000. Right? And that's assuming your setup fees are $2,000. My very first client paid me $3,000, right? And now obviously the clients I work with, it kind of ranges now, depending on the vibes, stuff of that nature, what they sell, it definitely ranges. It's between $1,500 to $3,000, but $2,000 is definitely on the lower side. Most of my deals are at least $2,500 setup fee, just most of them, right? To make the math work. So these are with highly conservative numbers with a relatively low closing rate. If you do the VSL correctly, you should be getting 30 to 40, realistically 40 to 50% closing rate minimum, even if you're not great at sales. And again, right, this is assuming you charge $2,000 setup fee. My first deal was $3,000 for more context, right? So using these numbers, I hope you see that it's really not that hard to make money as a lead generation agency. Using these specific metrics and these numbers and these assumptions, I'm closing 8 clients for $2,000. I'm making $16,000 in a single month by sending this cold email campaign to 5,000 leads, 5,000 decision makers. Again, I work with the recruitment agency niche, and this is just the numbers, right? It's a lot easier than you think. So if you made it to the end of this video, I know this video is super, super long, and I definitely considered making a shorter one, but I decided that I wanted to just share as much as I can. I don't want to gatekeep any information, and I want to make this video in a way
because I'm in
where
another
you're
like
able
coaching
to
program,
watch this,
and they
learn
went over
something
cold
new,
email,
and
but
actually
that's
take action and
cold
actually
email
make
is not
money
their
if
forte.
you follow
From now in the beginning, you've
I
been able to
decided to
just go
make this
way
video
deeper than
longer
them.
for that specific reason, and I
exactly what
understand not
wanted.
everyone will
I
be able to
wanted
watch the whole
that
video, but for
101.
those of you who
We couldn't do
are
this
here,
without you.
that's a good
Honestly,
sign,
we're
because
so
it means that
grateful.
you're dedicated to the process.
I think you
You're
should
able
put
to
your
commit
prices
an
up,
hour out
and
of your
I
day,
think you just
maybe
need to
2
be a
hours,
really
depending
big
on how
deal
long this
because
video
you
is,
actually care about
into
people
actually
and you
learning
over
and
deliver.
building a
You
business and making
understand how
$10,000 a
like where
month
we're coming from,
ASAP.
because I
Right?
was
Again, I
lost with
didn't gatekeep
emails,
any
but like you
information here, and if you take
understand kind
action
of
on the
where we're
information
coming
alone
from
from this
instead of
video,
like,
you will
you know, the
make money
teacher that's good
100%.
at
You're
math
simply
that's
in a
been
way.
doing that
I
one
literally
class
screen
for
shared you all
5
my
years and
analytics,
doesn't
showed you
understand
behind
why
the scenes,
people don't
showed
get
you
it.
exactly the math
You know,
that
like you
makes this
don't have
happen.
that kind
And
of
this is the type of information
like you break
that
things
gurus will
down
try to sell
very
you for
like
thousands of
being able to
dollars to
understand
you
it, you
in the
know.
form of a course, right? And I'm giving it to you completely for free. Now, obviously, all of this will make sense because this is all information. And once you actually do these things, you actually implement these things, write the cold emails, set up these accounts, build your VSL, you will run into challenges and you will have question marks. But as a business owner, you will have to figure some of these things out yourself, right? It's called problem solving. And the best business owners, the ones who make a ton of money, who are in business for years, decades, they have really good problem solving skills. So you obviously, that is something you have to develop if you want to succeed and make $10,000 a month ASAP. You do need to have a level of problem solving skills, and you can't expect someone to hold your hand along the whole process because you will have questions and you will have to figure them out yourself. And you doing this process as a result, mainly because of the problem solving thing, right? This process might take you 3 months, it might take you 6 months, or it might even take you a year if you try really hard to figure these things out on your own, because we are building a business and there's a lot of stuff in between the lines that I simply couldn't outline in this video. And that's exactly why I have an offer for you. So my offer to you is I will personally work with you one-on-one to build your lead generation agency and get it to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days using everything I outlined in this video. Every single one of those steps, I will personally work with you one-on-one, consult with you at each step of the way, make sure that your emails are set up correctly, your scripts are done well, your VSL is done well, you're doing your sales calls, you're not closing them. Why is that? We will review them. I will personally consult with you and help you pick your niche, craft your offer, write your cold email scripts, review your sales calls, and walk you through everything A to Z involving starting this business and making $10,000 a month ASAP. Any problems that you might have, any challenges, any questions you will have, I have probably walked through them myself. 99% of your questions that you might have right now, even watching this video, I probably had them too when I was first getting started, and I just figured it out on my own, and I have the answers basically, right? And this is for you if you are not interested in spending the next 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 2 years trying to figure everything out yourself, and you want to accelerate your journey. You know this is a good business model. You understand how it works. You think this is for you, and you just want to go from zero, so where you are right now, and make $10,000 a month ASAP in the next 90 days, in the next 3 months, then this is for you. And to clarify, I am not selling information. This is not a course. I'm not selling you information. I think it's completely stupid. There's so much information online. I put all the information I know onto YouTube myself. But where people work with me is direct access to me, right? If you are trying to build a restaurant, you directly having access to Gordon Ramsay will mean you will succeed, right? You're not going to succeed just because you know how to cook a really well steak, cook a really good tasting steak. You will succeed when you have direct access to Gordon Ramsay, who will guide you along the path for you to build your own restaurant. And that's the exact same thing I'm doing here. I'm not selling you information. I'm providing you guidance, direct mentorship. This is a direct one-on-one mentorship and guidance directly from me. You will be working with me, not someone else, not a team member, but me. And here is just some of the things that some of the people that I'm working with right now have to say. And obviously, for the purpose of this video, I couldn't include like the full clips, but if you want to check out what they're saying, it's actually a pinned highlight on my Instagram profile. It's titled Wins, and you could go check that out yourself now. So the way it works is, and how it works is, I have gone through this exact same process, this entire process, starting from zero, where you are right now with 0 case studies, towards building my own lead generation to $10,000 in a 22-day period, making $13,000 in my second month, making $20,000 in my third month, and cracking $50,000 a month in December 2023. So I walked through this entire process myself, and I know exactly how it works. I have helped 20 plus people build their own agencies and land their first clients using cold emails. So I guarantee that this works. So the way it works is, if we were to work together, if you take action, you're committed to the process, and you take action every single day. If you don't make back the investment that you paid to work with me for the mentorship, then I will refund you in full, because it's just clearly not working for you. And the reason I'm able to make this guarantee is because, like I said, right? I've done this for 20 plus people. I've done it myself. I show you all the analytics. If you do this process correctly, you will make back the money, right? There's just no way. You will succeed in this business model. There's just no way. It's simple mathematics. So if you want to work with me, I have attached my calendar in the description below. Please use that to set up a time to chat where I'll ask you some questions to figure out if I can even help you at all, because like anything else, I just can't help everybody, right? Some people I just can't do much for. And I want to ask you some questions to figure out if I can actually help you, because I want to make sure that anyone I work with, I'm doing this using my time. I want to make sure they get the best results possible. And the only thing that I'm asking for you is, please be respectful of my time, right? I have an agency to run. I have employees. I have clients. And I don't want to be wasting my time chatting if you're not super serious about building your own lead generation agency and getting it to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days, right? Or if you just want to book a call with me to ask me a simple question, please do not do that, right? I create these YouTube videos specifically for that reason, because they will answer 95% of your questions. Or if you have a very specific question and you just need to know, you have an answer and you just want an answer from me, then please DM me on Instagram at JimmyFung_. DM me your questions there, and I will reply back to you and answer your questions. So basically, if you want help building your lead generation agency and getting it to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days, then set up a chat with me and we'll talk and see how I can help. Thank you. Bye-bye.